Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now I'm super excited about today's video for a number of reasons. This is a brand new company to the channel. It's a penny stock. They've got multiple different revenue streams. They just closed a huge acquisition and there's a ton going on at this business that we're going to unpack in today's video. Now the company name is ESE Entertainment. They're focused on the esports, gaming, entertainment, media type of industry, and they're really looking to provide end-to-end solutions for investors and customers looking for exposure to this space. Now for those reasons, you guys, again, very excited about today's video, but before we get into it, please take a second, hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the video comment section if you're currently holding shares of ESE, how you think they stack up to their competitors, and what you think of this diversified business model. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be talking about a company by the name of ESE Entertainment Incorporated. Trades on the TSX Venture under the ticker symbol ESE, so super easy to remember this one. We're going to bring up the US listing in a second here. In terms of video format today here, you guys, we're going to be doing a deep dive analysis on ESE Entertainment. There's a lot to unpack with this company, really a conglomerate, and touches the esports gaming world in a lot of different ways. So we're going to be going through some of their assets, some of their different investments, and some of the ways I think this company is set up for growth moving forward. Now that being said, before we get into it, I did want to pull up the chart here, you guys. This company has really been performing quite well over the last couple of months. Now if you look at the low on the 6-month graph here, you'll see towards the end of August 2021, the company was trading at 93 cents Canadian. Now since then, they've went on quite a run. They're actually up over $1.50. They've got about 60 million shares outstanding. So based on close as of November 26 at $1.53 Canadian, they were down 9 cents on the day, so pulled back about 5.5%. That gives a market cap right around $92 million Canadian. Now towards the end of the video, we're going to look at some of the competitors in this space in terms of market cap. They're fetching hundreds of millions, in some cases billions of dollars. So this definitely is a very attractive way to gain exposure to the esports, gaming, entertainment type of industry. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, this is a company that you want to add to your watch list. Now for full disclosure here, you guys, I currently do not hold any shares of ESE. We have talked about a number of these type of companies on the channel previously. So Fans Unite, Score Entertainment, those are a couple that come to mind. Now I have pulled out of my position in Score. I'm not holding any companies in this space at this point in time, but of the companies that I'm aware of, ESE definitely offers the most upside potential and is one that I'm going to be actively looking to initiate a position or start up a position in the near future here. Now I did want to just quickly touch on the US listing here as well, you guys. So if you're looking to buy this company on the OTC, trades under the ticker symbol ENTFF. So they are dual listed, which gives some great exposure in both countries, along with increased liquidity for the company and average volume or shares traded each and every day. Now with the tickers out of the way, let's get into the exciting stuff here. So this article came out November 15th, so very recently, and it talks about a big acquisition that ESE actually just completed. So as we go through this presentation, you're going to see that they've actually been very active in the M&A space. They've actually been doing about one acquisition each and every quarter here. We're going to look at the management team as well because they are a very hungry group and they're looking to aggressively build out this company in terms of their assets and the various different ways or angles that they can interact with this industry. So we're going to look at Frenzy in a little bit more detail, but essentially this is a media and production infrastructure company focused on, again, the esports or video game industry. They actually create or execute esports and gaming events, including broadcasts and media content. And as we go through today's presentation, you're going to see that ESE Entertainment really is quite diversified with the various different business units that they have. And the addition of Frenzy really does help out or bolster that media broadcast side of the company. Now, Conrad Wasuela, who's the CEO of ESE, he's a super interesting guy. He was actually a professional CFL player, so that's the highest tier of professional football here in Canada. Very interesting story behind him. I've watched a couple of his videos on YouTube, and if you talk about investing in a vision or investing in a person, this guy is the real deal here. So he goes on to talk about the acquisition, saying this transaction is another example of our team's ability to execute a calculated growth strategy by utilizing strategic acquisitions that can add value and accretion to ESE. Completing the Frenzy acquisition will allow us to immediately accelerate our growth plans. Our team have already hit the ground running, and it's clear that our combined capabilities and resources are synergistic and primed for growth. So again, they've gone out, they've acquired all these various different pieces that are related to the esports, gaming, media, entertainment industry. They've combined them, and now they're really looking to ramp up in terms of revenue and the amount of money that they're bringing in within the greater ESE umbrella. And with that being said, we're now going to jump over to the ESE website, look at the About Us section here, you guys, and get a better understanding for the DNA behind ESE Entertainment. So if we scroll down here, you can see ESE Entertainment is combining multiple gaming and esports assets to create a single world-class brand. And if you've looked at companies in this industry before, you guys, it's super fragmented. It's not like traditional professional sports where there's the NFL, NHL, these big singular leagues or governing bodies. The esports industry is super fragmented or compartmentalized, and Conrad is really looking to change that and build one of these unified brands. So ESE is a European-based entertainment and technology company focused on gaming and esports, particularly on media rights relating to esports, so actually broadcasting these events across the world, physical and digital content creation, and the distribution of esports related content, which I just mentioned. ESE is focused on bridging Europe, Asia, and North America, so you'll see they actually have bases of operation or locations across the globe here, you guys. The company was founded in 2019 by Conrad himself, so it's founder-led. You know I love companies that have the founder at the helm, a former professional football player, which we talked about in the CFL, and he talks about in his interviews how he really saw professional football as an industry or a business. He talks about some of the different marketing rights, media deals, and merchandising, and I think he's really taken a lot of those learnings and applied it to the world of business. Now, ESE today has grown to consist of multiple different assets, of which we're going to take some time and actually look into a couple in more detail in today's video, and world-class operators in the gaming and esports industries. Our capabilities include, but are not limited to, physical infrastructure, broadcasting, global distribution for gaming and esports related content, again, that's where Frenzy comes in, advertising, sponsorship support, and a growing esports team franchise, which is actually named Kick, that we're going to look at again later in today's presentation. So you can see very multifaceted here, you guys, and really looking to capitalize on the entire industry holistically. And I think that's really what differentiates ESE from some of these other competitors that we've talked about on the channel, because it's really taking that step back and looking at the industry and the opportunities as a whole and from end to end. So now that we've taken a look at ESE's chart, we talked about some of the most recent acquisition news. We learned a little bit about what the company's goal or mission is. I wanted to look at the addressable market here before we deep dive into the company's investor presentation. So esports as a whole or category has grown exponentially over the last decade, you guys. I think this is even going to be ramped up more so with the COVID pandemic, because a lot of people are now stuck at home, working from home, and really experimenting or being introduced to a lot of these online esports type of platforms. So the market itself here, you can see on the left-hand side, the professionals in this industry are now earning more than a lot of traditional sports. So this is absolutely insane to me. This was quite surprising. So the 2019 Dota Championship, you guys, $15.6 million. That compares to $3 million that was paid out in the 2019 Wimbledon tournament. 2019 Masters, Tiger Woods obviously won that. $2 million prize there. And in terms of popularity or addressable market, all you really need to do here, you guys, is follow the money. And I think these figures speak for themselves. Now on the right-hand side, you can see global esports revenue growth over the last couple of years. So 2017, it's broken down into merchandise, tickets, game publisher fees, and then brand investment revenues. So those are the three different colors you see here. Holistically though, $655 million in revenue. Now fast forward 5 years, so 2022, this is projected to be just under $1.8 billion, which represents a compound annual growth rate in excess of 22% from 2017 to 2022. And that's really one of the big reasons I'm so excited about this sector overall here, you guys, is because of the amount of attention, eyeballs, investor dollars, media dollars that are really starting to flow into this industry. And again, as mentioned, currently very highly fragmented, and there's not a lot of companies that are looking for end-to-end holistic solutions for this sector. And speaking of those end-to-end solutions, that's a perfect segue into the ESE portfolio of brands, which I wanted to talk about next in today's video. So again, you can see it's based in Europe here, you guys, but in terms of their key assets, they're really broken down into 6 categories or subsidiaries here. They've got Digital Motorsports, which we're actually going to look at in a little bit more detail because this one's super cool. It's an award-winning organization and one of the leading race simulator solution providers in Europe. So what they do is actually build ultra-realistic racing simulators so people or players can actually sit in these fully immersive desks and actually feel like they're on real tracks racing real vehicles. Now, Digital Motorsports has key vendor distribution rights, partnerships with major franchises like Porsche, and in addition to these major partnerships, they've worked across the industry in multiple different disciplines from Formula One, WEC, WRC, drifting, and many more leagues and types of racing. In addition to that, Kick Esports, so again, this is their esports team. We're going to look at this one in more detail as well. So it's a pioneering esports organization, again, based in Europe. It manages esports teams that compete across multiple different games and platforms, which happen to include League of Legends, FIFA, Apex Legends, and many of the most popular games around the planet at this point in time. They've currently got a roster in excess of 100 top-notch or world-class players under the Kick team name and have received over 850 awards, so very high-caliber players within this team, you guys. Frenzy is the acquisition we just talked about, so this really focuses on the media and production side of the company, and how they actually do that is through creating and executing esports and gaming events. They then broadcast those events and support the media content and marketing that goes along with them. And one thing that's cool about Frenzy is they actually operate professional mobile automated TV equipment solutions that allow them to produce content and stream events from anywhere in the world. So very flexible and agile business model here that again I think is crucially important as this industry continues to progress. Now the other 3 brands here, Virtual Pit Stop, so this actually provides technology for video game developers, racing fans, and gamers to engage in motorsports related esports across the planet. So again, things like 3D laser scanners to actually model out real life tracks. Obviously a lot of synergies here between Virtual Pit Stop and Digital Motorsports. They then have the ESE Gaming banner. So this is a Europe-based entertainment and technology company focused on the gaming, particularly esports. And again, ESE really consists of all these multiple assets rolled up into one world-class operation. And then the final pillar here, you guys, or subsidiary is WPG, which stands for World Performance Group. And this is really an infrastructure-based business. It operates in Canada and Europe, and it's designed for the management of fan engagement for OTT and esports. So WPG actually works with its customers to build new and improved business-to-consumer and business-to-business processes that align with the customer's brand, boost retention, enhance off-site fan interaction, and improve ROI. So again, creating that holistic ecosystem for customers and consumers of this content. And with that being said, we're not going to deep dive into each one of these 6 segments in today's video, but I did want to take a double click on Digital Motorsports and Kick because personally I think these are very exciting divisions within the company here. So if we jump over to the Digital Motorsports website, you can see a look for actually what it is this company provides. So at Digital Motorsports, we specialize in building bespoke simulator solutions to meet clients' individual needs. So they actually create custom simulators as well as out-of-the-box solutions. Whether you're a professional driver, race team, sim racer, we can offer custom simulators tailored to any form of motorsport to suit your budget and requirements. So if you actually scroll down here, you can see some of the solutions. So these are very high-tech, fully immersive units, really with a range of applications. So you can see some of the use cases here installed in condos, installed in offices, or actually for racing teams themselves, along with customer testimonials from actual professional race car drivers. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention in regards to Digital Motorsports to you guys, this relates to revenue for ESE Entertainment. These are actually the out-of-the-box solutions, so you can imagine the custom applications are even more expensive. These range in the neighborhood of about 3,000 euros, and you can actually see they're sold out. So this is really speaking to that point I mentioned about the pandemic situation and how people are really looking for alternatives in sports that they can do from the comfort of their own home. So these are high priced or high ticketed items, you guys. Obviously there's huge demand. You can see down here more sold out products, and some of the higher end products actually in the 19,000 euro type of price point. Now the other division I wanted to take a closer look at here today, you guys, is Kick. So this is actually the esports team. You can see they actually just won the Code Red Championship. And if you scroll down on the homepage, today esports is an important part of people's lives. Much like how sports evolved and became a world phenomenon, the esports industry is on the same route, but gathering support at even faster pace. Kick is a registered esports brand founded in 1998, so they've been around over 20 years with over 850 awards alive and kicking. And if you explore on this platform, you can look at the various different teams, but as mentioned, these are some of the top players across the planet in their respective division or game. So League of Legends, FIFA, Apex Legends are probably three of the most popular. But again, massive team here, you guys. Massive marketing and advertising opportunity. And you can see that on the sponsorship tab on the Kick website. So now that we've talked about the growth of the esports division overall, we've looked at the various different components of esports entertainment. We've taken a deep dive into a couple of those key components. I wanted to pause for a sec and actually talk about the opportunity in relation to Europe. So you've noticed the majority of these business units are focused on the European market. So the CEO and founder actually immigrated to Canada from Poland. So he talks about that story as an immigrant in Canada growing up, how his dad and his brother founded very successful businesses. So I think that honestly has a lot to do with this dual focus on North America and Europe. But in terms of the actual total addressable market, the esports industry has taken off in Europe, so I would say they're almost a step ahead of North America at this point in time. You can see they specifically call out Poland in the investor presentation, and in addition to that, they actually give estimated number of fans for some of the top markets in Europe. So Germany alone has 13 million plus esports fans, Poland very close behind with 11 million plus fans, Spain, 8.4 million, Sweden, 1.6. So if you add these up, you guys, it's a massive TAM or total addressable market. Over $350 million of esports related revenue was generated in the European Union in 2019. They've got 583 million individual people that are online in some capacity, and 32 million of that total online population is actually considered or self-considered to be an esports enthusiast. So I think that's really important to take note of here, you guys. They're in a very high growth industry on a macro scale, but ESE Entertainment has really focused on the European market, which within that overall category is growing at an even faster pace. And that really leads us to this perfect opportunity for ESE Entertainment overall. So as mentioned, there's no dominant infrastructure company powering esports solutions from end to end. There's fragmented channels that have made it difficult for esports companies or companies that want exposure into this space to generate revenue compared to traditional sports channels. There's lack of standardization. So again, we talked about there aren't these big traditional sports leagues like FIFA, NFL, NHL. It's difficult to secure rights on behalf of teams. There's lack of permanent digital and physical infrastructure for supporting events. So again, Frenzy is really one of the solutions to that problem. And it's difficult to manage global broadcasting and advertising channels because these events are popping up all over the world, all different times of the year, and from all these various or different groups. So the solution to that is ESE Entertainment's business model, and again, the focus on creating that world-class esports infrastructure company that looks at the industry and opportunity holistically here. So some of the things that they specifically call out in the investor presentation here: software for events and tournaments, which we talked about, physical infrastructure and broadcasting capabilities, and again, the opportunity to broadcast from around the world using that mobile automated solution. They've got existing global distribution for esports related content, growing gaming franchise that includes professional teams like we just talked about with Kick, Tier 1 advertising, sponsorship, and business partners. So you can see some of the big ones at the bottom there. Orlen, Porsche, some of the biggest brands in the world here, you guys. that are in partnership or backing ESE Entertainment. And speaking of Porsche, I wanted to double click on that relationship itself because this is probably one of the most notable ones with ESE at this point in time. So Porsche, it's one of the world's biggest and most well-known automakers. ESE has a deal to manage and run certain gaming and esports events on behalf of Porsche, especially in regards to racing simulation. So again, digital motorsports. And these type of relationships or partnerships between esports companies and traditional competitors in these industries is really, again, what I feel separates or distinguishes ESE from some of its competitors. And if you think of a company like Digital Motorsports that's focused on creating high-end race simulators, what better partnership could you ask for than Porsche? Now that's just one example of some of these high-profile relationships that the team at ESE has put together, but it really speaks to management's vision and the way they're going about addressing this industry in a creative or disruptive way compared to some of their competitors. And speaking of that vision from the management team, I did want to take a quick look at the executive team here at ESE Entertainment. So first up, Conrad Wasela, CEO and founder. You can see the CFL logo down there. Now this guy is an extremely high-performing, driven, and motivated individual. In his interviews, he talks about buying and selling vehicles with his brother while he was in his teens. He didn't go out partying into the bars like most kids at his age. He actually then got into the real estate market, so I think he bought his first house when he was around 17. He actually built this out to a global real estate holdings company, so in Europe and in North America. He then moved into the world of professional sports, where he was actually a player on the BC Lions. He also spent time with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He calls them out specifically in regards to the team's marketing and apparel sales, and then rounded out his career with the Montreal Alouettes. So again, he gained a ton of experience from that high-level sports exposure, and ironically, that experience and knowledge that Conrad gained in the world of traditional sports is what's propelled him and set him up so perfectly for his entrance into the world of esports and entertainment. Now, Conrad has surrounded himself by a team of rock stars here, you guys. So Rick Brace was a past president of Rogers Media, so that's one of the biggest media companies here in Canada. And the list really goes on between Ron, Raj, and Rob in terms of experience and expertise in global media, esports, and investment type of situations. Now, at the start of today's video, I talked about ESE's market cap, so you can see here it's listed as $60 million. Obviously, the company share price has gone up since this deck was put together. Again, they're sitting close to $90 million at this point in time. But even $90 million here, you guys, if you look at some of the comparables or other companies that operate in this space, again, the Score is one that we covered on the channel. They're fetching market caps in excess of hundreds and even billions of dollars. So ESE, although the share price has appreciated and actually had some pretty strong performance over the last couple of months, I think still represents an awesome buying opportunity for all of the reasons we talked about in today's video. So they've got that diversified end-to-end business model. They've got that rockstar leadership team, all of those awesome relationships and partnerships with industry leaders. And then again, from a financial standpoint here, you guys, valued well below any of the other operators in this space with a huge addressable market and compound annual growth rate in excess of 20% for the industry as a whole. Now, no video would be complete if we didn't actually take a look at the financials behind the company here. So you can see top left, annualized revenue run rate of about $17 million. So this is still a small cap penny stock type of company here, you guys. There's huge growth potential ahead of them, but this really depends on the execution of the leadership team and that continued commitment, whether it's on the M&A side of things or on the organic growth side of things, to continue to drive top line revenue growth. Now, this is actually projected out based on fiscal Q3, so their most recent quarter here, which you can see came in at just north of $4.2 million. And that's actually before the acquisition of Frenzy. So if you add that into the fold here, again, M&A type of activity, you're actually looking at an annualized revenue run rate closer to about $25 million. So massive improvement over Q2. That's the second point that's called out here. So nearly 500% revenue growth quarter over quarter. And the other thing that was really nice to see here is quarter over quarter, their net loss actually improved tremendously here. So they lost $3.8 million in Q2. They lost only $1.3 million in Q3 of this year. Now, based on that revenue here, you guys, they're trading at about a 3.2 times multiple. Now, keep in mind the share price has moved a little bit, but that is extremely cheap compared to any of the other operators that I've personally looked at in the esports, entertainment, gaming industry, because the category as a whole is growing at such an exponential rate. Companies that operate in this space are really fetching quite high multiples compared to some of the other industries that we've covered on the channel previously. And the other thing I should mention on this slide, you can see at the bottom here, tight structure, primed for growth. About 40% of the shares of ESE Entertainment are actually held by insiders. So we talked about this in some of my previous videos here, you guys, but the more shares that are held by insiders means the fewer shares that are available for the public to buy and trade. And that really means that if and when the share price does decide to take off, it moves that much quicker because people are really looking to gobble up these shares. And based on the laws of supply and demand, if the supply is restricted or limited, the only way to meet demand is for the price to actually go up. And I think that's what we could see here as the investment community starts to pick up on ESE Entertainment, some of this merger acquisition activity, how they're successfully folding in these various different businesses, and now starting to see that annualized revenue improve tremendously quarter over quarter. So with that being said here, you guys, we're going to close out today's video. This is definitely one, again, that I think belongs on your watch list if you're looking for exposure into this industry. Again, I currently do not hold any shares, but this is definitely one that I'm looking to open a position in within the next couple of weeks here. As a recap, you guys, ESE Entertainment offers a diversified business model. They've got multiple different business units and multiple different forms or streams of revenue. They've got a global esports platform that touches multiple different parts of the sector overall in an industry that's open for consolidation. They've got that super strong management team. Again, in the interviews, Conrad talks about the fact that they have a chip on their shoulder, they're ultra competitive, and they're willing to go the extra mile to make sure this business is a success. And then underpinning all of this is that exceptional market opportunity, the TAM, the growth of the esports, e-gaming industry overall. This is a global mega trend with esports leading the way, and ESE has a strong focus on Europe and Asia, which of the entire planet are the two markets that are really leading the charge here. So for those reasons, you guys, and all the other ones that we talked about in today's video, super excited about ESE Entertainment. Feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Let me know if you're currently holding shares. If you are, what's your average cost? And how do you think ESE stacks up to some of the other competitors in this space? If you're still watching the video at this point in time, hopefully you found some value. So make sure you hit the like button on your way out. And if you aren't currently subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.